I've been having such a good time playing with these little sweet treat cups from Stampin' Up! That I wanted to share a tutorial with you. The pages in the Holiday Mini Catalog, if you're looking, are 6 and 7, and we're going to use the Sweet Center stamp set, which is perfectly sized to go with these cute little cups. And you can do all kinds of things. Here's a little fancy treat box that has the candy put on the front. But sometimes you want to give your card or gift to somebody and you don't want them to destroy the whole card to get the candy out, which I can understand. I mean, you have to get the candy out, right? So for this one, what there's done here is to put a slider panel in the back. So you can pull out the slider, take out your candy, and go ahead and use your card. And you should be impressed because the candy wrapper is rich raspberry to match my rich raspberry cardstock. I looked for that for a long time. Okay, it didn't. It was a coincidence, but sometimes you get lucky, so. All right, the stamp we're going to use for our Halloween project is the Eek Your Sweet stamp from the Sweet Center stamp set. And I'm going to go ahead and ink this in Elegant Eggplant. And because the stamp is so large and so bold, I really like to ink it upside down. So I'm putting my stamp flat on the table and inking it this way so that I can see whether my ink is getting good coverage or not. So that looks pretty good to me. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this on a piece of Whisper White cardstock. And then I'm going to take that and go ahead and use my long-handled scissors. You could use a paper cutter too. Since my scissors are the nice Stampin' Up! Ones with a long blade, it's really easy to cut long straight lines, and I love to have them handy. Okay, and then I'm going to use my 1 3/4 inch circle punch to go ahead and punch this out. And of course, Stampin' Up! Is so good at coordinating things that you know it's going to fit perfectly. So I'm going to line that up right there in the center. Okay, and we have our pieces here. Let's see, we'll get our sweet treat cup out. Not that I need it yet, but I just think they're cute. I like holding on to them. Our card is 8.5 by 4 1/4, and I'm going to fold this in half. This is pumpkin pie. And on the front, I'm going to go ahead and glue our piece of cardstock from the Cast a Spell paper. And there's awesome skulls on the back of here, or if you like to be on the milder side with your Halloween, there's lots of pretty patterns and colors. You can be skull-free on your Halloween projects. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this cover panel on the back, but it's very important here. You can't adhesive the whole thing on there or your panel won't go on. So I'm going to have my slider pull from the side. So I'm going to go ahead and put snail on 3 sides here and not right here. Okay. Believe me, I had to use my adhesive remover the first couple times that I did this project. So see, I have it handy. Okay, so this is where our slider is going to go. Now, since we have this all set, what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer my piece on here without gluing it down, and I'm going to use a pen to go ahead and draw a circle in the center. Okay, and this is going to tell us where we want our holes to be cut. All right, so we have our holes cut, or punched here. And the next thing I'm going to do is clear some space so that I can bring in my glass mat and my Circle Scissor Plus. And we are going to go ahead and cut the center here. Now you're going to want to have some dado on hand to go ahead and make sure that this paper is adhered, because the circle scissor is going to try and slide it around as we go, and we don't want it to slide. And actually, once your glass mat is seasoned, which kind of like in cooking, seasoned pans, you know, are better to cook with, a seasoned glass mat is easier to work with. There's a little dado sticking to this from all the multiple times that I've used it, and that's perfect because it just holds the card down just that much better. So don't worry about cleaning your glass mat. You want it to be seasoned. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn my here, because I want to cut a hole that's just a little bit bigger than the 1 3/4. So I'm going to set this to 1 7/8. And I'm going to set this on here. If you've ever done wheel thrown pottery, this is like when you're adding the feet to the bottom of your pot. But you're going to go ahead and set this on here and look around. The blade is going to cut between these 2 little notches. And so what you want to do is you want to slide this around and make sure that the line you drew is right close to that notch point all the way around. I'm going to hold my circle scissor here on this black part, and I'm going to go ahead and put my blade in. And when I'm cutting this, I'm not pushing hard, I'm barely pushing, just a little at a time. And as you'll see, the designer series paper piece cuts first, and then that kind of shoves itself out of the way. And then the pumpkin pie layer, and then the elegant eggplant layer below. If you try and muscle through all 3 layers at one time, the cardstock is going to have a really hard time getting cut, and your blade's going to hop. So you just want to do one at a time. And then when you pull this all out, you have your circle cut right in the center, and some cute cardstock pieces that you can use for something else. Ooh, doesn't that look cool? The skull and so forth. Okay, that'll just have to be another project. So then you want to take your adhesive remover, and the dado is very easy to pull off the back of your card here. And no one ever had to know that it was sticky on there. Okay, so we have our project set there. The next thing we're going to do is get out the cute little cup part. There is adhesive on here, so what you have to do is find the seam in the adhesive backing, right, like that, and go ahead and pull that off. And then you want to center your cup right over the hole. Okay, see how that works? And go ahead and stick that down all the way around. And then our next part is to go ahead and attach that Sweet Centers piece over the top. And we'll go ahead and do that. I'll stick some snail on the edges. And we'll pull that in. Okay, and then I have our slider panel, and our slider panel is going to go in the side of the card here. But to make it a little easier to pull in and out, I have my 3/4 inch circle punch, and this punch doesn't like to go through all these layers of cardstock all at once, but on the half, usually you can get it to work pretty easily. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this slider layer between the elegant eggplant inner layer and the pumpkin pie layer on the outside. So that's the slider part, but we're going to make it cuter. We are going to punch a hole, and I have my crocodile handy to punch our hole, and I'm punching the larger, the 3/8 inch hole. And then I'm going to take a piece of old olive ribbon, and we're going to, I'm going to show you a ribbon tie that not only conserves your ribbon supply, so is extra cute. So I just cut a short piece of ribbon. It's less than 4 inches, and I'm going to tie these two together with a piece of the linen thread. And linen thread's really inexpensive. I tend to, it's my add-on. If I'm really close to bumping up to the next hostess level and getting more free shopping dollars, I add on linen thread. So, all right, so I'm just going to tie a knot in here, and I'm going to tie it pretty tight because we want this to stay put. So there's that, and that, and then I have some ends to trim. Let's see. All right, and then I'm going to just trim this little old olive bit here because it looks cuter when it's trimmed. There, okay. And we have our tie for our candy to go in here. And we made this at my stamp club. And I told my stamp clubbers, pick the candy corn packets that have more candy corns in them, because then they won't all fit in the cup and you'll have to eat the extras. So, oh, so sad. 3 of them don't fit. Shh, don't tell my daughter. She'll want some too. Only mommies get to have snacks, not for dessert time, right? Okay, so there is our slider card. We need one cute little embellishment, and we've already stamped it. So all I'm going to do here is take a couple Stampin' Dimensionals and go ahead and position this little eek right off to the side for our card. We'll add a greeting to the middle, and for that I'm going to use from the Teeny Tiny Wishes stamp set, the Sweet Treats greeting. It's Teeny Tiny Wishes, not Teeny Weeny Wishes, which I like to call it all the time. So, all right, so I'm inking up Sweet Treats, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp it once, and then without taking my hand away, I'm going to stamp it 2 more times below to get sort of a falling off kind of effect. See how that works? And there is our card. Of course, I might have to eat the candy out of it before I can do the next video here. All right. No one will notice if there's one less candy corn in there, right?